Morning, amazing learners. You're welcome to today's section of our online class. And today we'll be looking at PHE, and the subject is non-contact sports. Last week we discussed about contact sports, where we talked about the examples of contact sports. We talked about the definition of contact sports. We also talked about the benefits and the safety measures in contact sports. And if you can remember, I said contact sports are sports that require body contact among the participants. And the examples I gave are football, basketball, wrestling, taekwondo, and so on, if you can remember. Then I also talked about the benefits and the safety measures. So today we'll be looking at non-contact sports. And also, under the objectives, you'll be at the end of the lesson, by the end of the lesson, each and every one of you will be able to know the definition of non-contact sports, the examples, the benefit derived, and the safety measures. So make sure you listen as I teach. Do well to take down your notes, and at the end of the lesson there's going to be an evaluation which you do and submit in our next class. Now let's look at the definition of non-contact sports. Non-contact sports are those sports where participants should have no possible means of body contact. Now, if you remember, I said earlier that contact sports, when we discussed about it, are sports that require body contact among the participants. Now, non-contact sports does not require any form of body contact among the participants, meaning that during the game, every participant is expected to stay in his or her designated positions to avoid body contact among themselves. Now let's look at the examples. The examples of non-contact sports, as I wrote, we have swimming, we have chess, we have snooker, gymnastics, table tennis. Now these are examples of non-contact sports. And if you watch sports regularly and you watch most of these sports, you find out that they don't even have body contact with themselves. For example, gymnastics. Everyone has their own vault, or what we call pole, whenever they want to carry out their game of gymnastics. Even chess, many of us play chess in school or at home, and we find out that whenever you play with your opponent, there is no need or any form of body contact among the participants. Alright, so these are the examples of non-contact sports. Now let's look at the benefits. As we talked about the benefits of contact sports. Now we're looking at the benefits of non-contact sports. And number one says it is for fun and entertainment. Now most contact sports we play, or most contact sports we engage in, are for fun and enjoyment. We use them to relax, we use them to calm our nerves, and use them to enjoy ourselves. So for example, let's take a look at the game of chess. Now when you're playing the game of chess, you find out that you're relaxed and you enjoy what you're doing, right? Very good. So one of the benefits of non-contact sports is that it is for fun and enjoyment. Many people derive fun in what they are doing. Now let's also look at the game of swimming as an example. For most of us that love swimming, you find out that whenever you're swimming, you enjoy what you're doing, you have fun in what you're doing, you derive a lot of pleasure in what you're doing. That's because it is one of the benefits of non-contact sports. Alright, let's move down to the next one. It says it relaxes the muscles of the body. Now, non-contact sports does not require you to use your whole muscles, strain your muscles like contact sports. If you can remember vividly, one of the contact sports we talked about is wrestling, and you find out that wrestling requires you to be using your whole strength, your whole muscle. Even football, it requires you to use your strength, your muscles, everything, all your body. At the end of the game will be stressed out. But when it comes to non-contact sports, it relaxes the muscle. For example, while engaging in swimming, you find out that after swimming, by the time you're done with swimming, you come out of the swimming pool and you are relaxed. Your whole body muscles has been relaxed. There's no need to strain them because you're engaging in the sport activity. But when it comes to contact sport requires you to make sure your body muscles must be strained. For example, football. running around trying to dribble and make passes, you find that at the end of the game, the players are usually very tired, and it requires them to take a lot of energy boosters to increase their energy. But in non-contact sports, after the game, you are relaxed. Alright, so let's move down to the next one. It says it brings about critical thinking. Now this brings us down to the game of chess and snooker. Yes, it requires you to think critically for you to make a win, for you to win in the game. You have to think well, you have to make sure that you don't make the wrong moves for you to win. And then for those of us that plays chess, you know that when you're playing, before you can make a move, you have to think, is this move I'm about to make, is it going to make me win, or is it going to make my opponent win me? So that brings us to, it brings about critical thinking. You think well before you try to make a win, or before you try to get a goal in the non-contact sport. Alright, so let's look at the last one. There is great control over injuries. Now this brings us back to our last class. During contact sports, a lot of injuries occur. For example, during boxing and wrestling, where the opponents are trying to attack themselves, throw punches and the rest of them, injuries occur. Even during the game of football, by the time they are running to dribble and make a pass, and at the end of the day, one of the players might just fall down, break his leg or break his ankle, and then injuries occur. But during non-contact sports, like I said earlier, it's a sport that requires you to be relaxed. There is great control over injuries. You hardly get injured during non-contact sports. I hope we all are following. Now let's look at the safety measures in non-contact sports. I want you to know that for every sport activities, there are different safety measures to be carried out to avoid injuries and to avoid doing the wrong thing at the right time. Alright, let's look at the first safety measure. It says have a proper warm-up before activities. And it is required for you to warm yourself up before going into any sport activities, be it contact sports or non-contact sports. Now, for example, the game of swimming. Before you go into the swimming pool, it is advised that you warm up yourself a bit, then take a shower before going into the pool for your body temperature to adjust to the water temperature. That is its own form of warming up. Alright, also, in the game of gymnastics, they usually have a little warm-up before going into the activities for them to be their muscles to be flexible and for them to be able to perform very well. Alright, let's look at the second one. It says apparatus must suit the activity. Now, for every game, for every sport activity, your apparatus must suit the activity, in the sense that you put on the right costume for the right sport. You don't have to put on the costume for swimming and you put it on for gymnastics. No, you have to put on the right costume for the right sport activity. Then number 3 says never carry out any activity without instructions. It is good for you to carry out whatever sport activity you want to carry out. Make sure you are being guided properly. Make sure you are being instructed before you carry them out. And that's why most of the sports we have, they always have instructors. Swimming has its own instructors. Gymnastics, chess, every game has each and every of their instructors. So it is advisable that before you go into any sport activity, or before you start, make sure you're being guided properly by your instructor. Alright, let's look at the last one. It says check the activity area and be sure they are free from hazard. It is very, very important. Before you start any sport activity, check the area if there are pieces of broken bottles or any sharp object that can lead to injury. Check if your environment is free from dangerous objects and be sure that they are free from hazards so you can enjoy your sport activities. So these are the safety measures of non-contact sports. Alright, here we have our evaluation. Number 1 says what is non-contact sports. Number 2 says list 2 benefits and safety measures of non-contact sports. Alright, so you're giving me 2 benefits and 2 safety measures of non-contact sports. So this is your evaluation. Make sure you do it and submit it in our next class. Now we've come to the end of today's class. I hope you all learned and enjoyed yourselves. See you in school. Bye bye. Thank you.